Hello everyone, I'd like to share my latest journal. This day book, I made one previously to this one with USA related ephemera, and this one is a Canadian related ephemera. It measures 6 inches wide, 8 and 3/4 inches high with a 2-inch spine. It's bigger than the first one. It has 5 hand stick signatures for a total of 228 pages. The ephemera included is all Canadian related, and it ranges from 1888 to mostly the 1900s. There's one from 2000. There's 32 originals, 5 are part of the journal. There are 68 copies, and 25 are part of the journal. This daybook cover is a digital by Junk Journal Shop. The 5 signatures, front and back, it's a digital. They're botanicals by Tailor Made Journals. I have also some florals by Emmeline Arts, which is on recycled paper from Italy. It's not the straw paper that I have from Italy, but it's another. It's just recycled paper. And also the inside book cover, front and back, is aged paper by Screech Owl Studio. And so we'll start with the first signature. Here is the official flower for the province of New Brunswick in Canada, which is the wild violet. This ledger paper I just got recently. It's from 1917. It's a slim ledger. I just love it. And the front page has a grocery list of purchases: milk 17 cents, meat 20 cents, eggs 84 cents, a cake 15 cents, sugar 50 cents. It's salmon 25 cents. Oh God, can't get salmon for 25 cents today, but it's so interesting. Here is it's a page from a Denison. I have all these Denison Seals of the World. And I've included one page, and you'll see the flag of Canada is the flag previous to the one that was inaugurated in 1965, which is our maple leaf flag. You have the coats of arms, Parliament Hill, the RCMP on horseback, loggers, Lake Louise, outdoor oven in Gaspé, Quebec, Eskimo whale hunting. And here is a French folk tune, À la Claire de Fontaine. There's a history on that if you want to do a search. It was interesting. And the version is different in France, apparently. This, throughout the book, I have 3 merchandise bags that are tea-dyed, and these are prints from the botanicals by Tailor Made Journal that I fussy cut. Now, these belong to my great-grandfather, and they were found in an attic in an old wallet, and this receipt is dated 1988 for $6.71 for the county taxes. This receipt is for $2.70, dated June 22nd, 1981, but it says on account, but I don't know for what. Here is a receipt for March 23rd, 1898 for the purchase of one book for 85 cents. These 2 were paid the same day, September 22nd, 1928. One was to the Gloucester Hospital, received on account in full for $90.25. And this one was for a Dr. Coffin, ear, eye, nose, and throat specialist, and again, on account, paid in full for $125. That was an interesting find. This page is from Pitman's Cumulative Speller, dated 1946. And this one is from The Fascinating World of New Brunswick, and this is an image of the King's Landing outside Fredericton. An envelope with our national anthem of Canada, with a journaling card. This from a 1909 page of Weeds of Canada. Here is a page from a 1901 Eaton's catalog, spring and summer catalog, but this was printed in the 1970s for their 100th anniversary. this here is from The World Mastery Speller for Canadian Schools, did it 1953. And I chose the page with the getting maple syrup, as New Brunswick and Quebec provinces are big producers of maple syrup. In the book, The Fascinating World of New Brunswick, there was the library pocket and library borrows card, and I made a corner tuck with it. And here's a postcard. This picture is a circa 1925. It's a truck loaded with King Cole tea, which was produced in St. John, New Brunswick. And this postcard was celebrating their the 900th year. Sorry. Yeah. So it's a famous tea here in the Maritimes. In that Pitman's, sorry, I keep going back to my note. In that Pitman's Cumulative Speller, in the back, I was reading out the provinces of Canada, and I noticed that Newfoundland was missing, because the book was printed in 46, and Newfoundland became part of Canada in 1949. This paper, that's that recycled paper from Italy. It has a sparkle. You can't see it on camera, but it has a little sparkle in it. There's that page from the Arithmetic for Canadians, because I was wondering why it said for Canadians, but it had all the currencies, the dollar bills, and another page. This, the quarter, the nickel, the dime, our penny, which is no longer in circulation. And here, these receipts come from the Gaspé Coast that my sister got for me. And it's groceries, 1 gallon of molasses, $1.55, butter, 68 cents, 1 soap, 12 cents, Oxidol, 15 cents, bologna, 95 cents. It's interesting stuff. And there's the back of that song, the other side of that ledger. So there's the first signature. The second signature, oops. So this is a page from Anne of the Islands, which is Anne of Green Gables in Prince Edward Island. Some vintage tracing paper. This is a catalog that I have. It's from McSweeney Brothers in Moncton, New Brunswick. It's for the spring 1984 catalog for Butterick patterns. And I included a page from that catalog for the dolls patterns for clothes. And also here there were toys. This one here says mouse, but it looks like a rat, really. And here what I did is, sometimes when it's not that old, I like to cover up the person's name. It's only 1950, and it's from the New Brunswick Telephone Company. And inside it was a notice for unpaid bills, so I thought it'd be fitting to cover up the guy's name. This is from a shareholder's ledger from a local business. And here I have the CN office memo, which stands for Canadian National Railways. A Canadian Tire receipt from Smith Falls from the 1940s. I backed it with card because it has the graphite on the back. And here is from Rexall, the Owl Drug Company from Vancouver and Victoria, BC, in duplicate. This little booklet, the Bank of Nova Scotia gave it out to the farmers memorandum and account book. But this one belonged to an employee of the bank. He had at the first page included the date that he was hired. But here it's August 25th, 1932, and it's a grocery list. And 4 gallons of gas, $1.24. 1 package of raisins, 13 cents. 1 tube of shaving cream, 35 cents. Here's the middle. It says inventory of farm. He was in New Brunswick. Here's an original check dated January 18th, 1908, from the Canadian Bank of Commerce in San Francisco, California. I have a few of those. I included an original. Here's that Denison Seals of the World. That's the cover. And I made a little corner tuck with it. Here is a ration book, Canadian ration book. Canadian ration book from 1942. I made a copy of the cover, but inside I included some real original ration tickets. And this is from a 1922 Larousse Universal French Dictionary with the Canadian map and some items of interest from Canada. That's the back of that McSweeney's catalog. There we go. The third signature. This is a page from a tiny ledger. Just love it. This is from a Canadian stamp book. I forgot. I don't have the year. Here it talks about the benefits of animals, therapeutic animals, and this is the Children's Hospital in Montreal. Here is a letterhead, the Sussex Ginger Ale Limited Employees Association in Sussex, New Brunswick, where they used to make ginger ale. In here, these items belong to my mother. Again, I covered up her name. It's dated April 5th, 1957. It's a notice of delivery. She ordered a ring from the Opera Diamond Company of Montreal, and that it was ready for pickup at the at the railway station. It was ready for pickup in April 1957. And this belonged to her mother. It's dated 1912. It went to my mother in the 1947s, and it says L'avenir de la jeune fille, the future of the young girl. What shall I do? Will I... It's if you want to get married or not. But again, you can see the direction that... the direction is to become a nun. And the negative part, the negative wording for husband, family, children, in-laws, it's unreal. And I just put one page here on page 25, and I did a little translation. And what to say when the husband is a drunkard, a man without faith and without morals, who thinks himself all permitted. Poor women. Add to that the displeasure caused by the children, the needs of the household, the painful considerations due to a mother-in-law. This is the fate that awaits the young women who give themselves to the world. And the book is all in this direction. It's unreal. It's quite the reading material. About you can't go to movies, you can't go to dances, you can't read the books. Anyway, this is parchment paper, and it's a wrapper for a 1 pound of butter. I found this in an antique shop in Moncton, New Brunswick. Here, the Surprise soap. It's dated 1923, and I have a quick little... it was in St. Stephen, New Brunswick. It was started by two brothers by the family name Ganong, and Ganong is also a big name down in St. Stephen, as they make candies and chocolate and stuff. Good stuff. But it was for the Surprise soap, and you kept the label, and there was a catalog where you could order items, like the coupon catalog. Oh, I have a little history here. Oh, Lord. Yeah. It was founded in 1878, and it went on until 1946. And it was, I have the instruction on how to obtain the premiums from this catalog. I chose the page with the toys because it was in color. The rest of the book is in black and white. Here I add some stamps, some Canadian stamps of our critters. There's the raccoons and beavers, and here are the gophers. There's the back of the catalog. So here I made a corner tuck with this, it's a poem by called Evangeline by Henry Longfellow, but this was the Dominion Atlantic Railroad edition. It was the land of Evangeline's route in Nova Scotia, the route of the Acadians, and I have this book, Stories from Canadian History, and it was written in 1893. And the interesting part of it was, for me, the exile of the Acadians. I'm an Acadian, and the French from France settled in the 1600s, and in 1755 were expulsed from Nova Scotia. Most came here to northern New Brunswick, some on the Gaspé coast, some in Maine, and a lot went to Louisiana, where they're called Cajuns as opposed to Acadians. Very interesting. History. I love history. Here are note cards published. There's moose and Canada geese, and it was published by the Wildlife Federation of New Brunswick. And the artist was Gordon Defoe from Ontario, I believe. Oh, and here are the just an image. It was the year of the monkey, the stamp that came out. This one, my sweet niece picked this up in an antique shop for me, and same as the ration book. It's for the Fredericton, New Brunswick exhibition from 1929, and it was a letter written by the Kitchen Brothers wholesale grocers regarding this exhibition. So the fourth signature here, oh, okay, this part here. I have the 1976 Eaton's French catalog that was addressed to my mother in a wrapper. Oh, it came in a wrapper like this. The catalog was wrapped. And here was the address label. And it's in French. And this is one portion of it. The other portion, you'll see my mother's address label. Another page from that 1909 Weeds of Canada. There's a thistle. That 1976, it's Spring and Summer Eaton's catalog in French. That was the front cover, the back cover. And I've included a page from that 1976 catalog, an original, of wallpaper. It's wild, and I hate to say that I've seen some of it. I'm just going to age myself. This envelope is for Eaton's Maritimes, Moncton, Canada. It wasn't in that catalog. That's something else that I found in an antique shop in Moncton. And inside, I included instructions for shoppers by mail for Eaton's, which was not part of this envelope. I don't remember where I got that. In the middle of the signature, I had ordered from an ephemera dealer this book because it said the Royal Bank of Canada, and but I didn't realize it was in Spanish inside, and I I couldn't understand where it would come from, that it would be in Spanish. And it's only when I look closely at that stamp. It's from Cuba. It's from Cuba. It was from the Royal Bank of Canada in Cuba, and from the 1917. This entry, this deposit book is from 1917, and it closed in 1960. The Royal Bank of Canada, and I have here a picture. It's in Old Havana, Old Havana, sorry, Old Havana, Cuba. So it was interesting. Some entries are at the beginning. I chose not to put it, and it says in U.S. currency. So interesting little book. And here. So this, what will you be doing 1 year from today, is from the International Correspondence Schools Canadian Limited from Montreal. And 1 year from today, will you still be putting off your start towards success? And it says, don't do it, man, don't do it. And it refers to, there is no greater tragedy in the world than that of a man who stays in the rut all his life, when with just a little effort he could bring a large success within his grasp. So it's directed towards men, and you know what I mean? There's no reference to women, even though there's a stenography and typing course. But the text is directed to men, so we can guess the year. The back of that Eaton's catalog. Another page from the 1909 Weeds of Canada. Here is, it was mailed from Ottawa, April 1st, 1957, to someone in New York. These are postcard. This was the Chateau d'Estigouche Hotel in Campbellton, New Brunswick, where I was born and raised, and it's 1934. There's nothing in the back. This one is, it's a view from the Sugarloaf Mountain in Campbellton, New Brunswick. And you can see all the fields here. Well, today, that's all filled in. There's no more fields. It's all residential, or hospitals, and there is some writing in the back, but it's not easy to read. This postcard is from 1944. Here is the Restigouche River, and here you have the province of Quebec that starts the Gaspé Coast. So here's part of that wrapper for the Eaton's catalog with the address label. You can see Mrs. Bernard, and it says French, Français for the catalog. The last signature. So here is a corner tuck. It's a little pamphlet that I have for a purity flour, and it has recipes. I included the one for the white bread and oatmeal cookies and apple pie. This is an order form for Avon, and the duplicate. There was one for the customer and one for the Avon rep. Here is from it was a complimentary book. It was in 1937. It covered from January to December, and it was all businesses in St. John, New Brunswick. And here you had household budget for January. Groceries, clothing, rent, heat, furnishing, savings. So that's one page of that booklet. Here's a Newfoundland folk song, I's the Boy that builds the boat. Everybody knows that in the East Coast, that's for sure. This is a page from, again, arithmetic for Canadians. And the fishermen. I had to choose the one fishing. This is a page from the 1940 Junior Arithmetic. And I chose the Fall Fair. And it says here, this book is the property of the New Brunswick government and should be returned to the teacher in good condition on or before June 30th each year. I understand why it never made it back, because it's in terrible condition. I was lucky to find a clean page. This is a 1985 catalog for bizarre patterns from, where is it? I'm going to find it. H.C. Charters, Bizarre Patterns. It's in Moncton, New Brunswick again. And I included a page for ladies' dresses. In here. Okay. I did it again. The cover of the Evangeline book that I have, and it's dated 1914. Here's a postcard from Stellarton, Nova Scotia, dated 1907. The middle of the signature is the same as I put in the one for USA. It's the subscription for the Life magazine, and it was $4.50 US, $5 Canada. So just for fun, I made a little check for $5 to Life. So this is where you would include your money in here. Here's a perforated line where you would cut this off. There's a glue line to close up. You fold the envelope and mail off to Life in Chicago, Illinois. And this, okay. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Grey Owl, but really it's because the photographer was Yusuf Karsh from Ottawa, Ontario, a very successful photographer whose success started when he took a picture of Winston Churchill, and after that it's just people from all over the world. I have the book of his photographies, but Grey Owl was Archibald Bellamy, who was commonly known as Grey Owl, was a British-born conservationist, fur trapper, and writer who pretended to be a First Nation person in Canada. While he achieved fame as a conservationist during his life, after his death, the revelation that he was not indigenous, along with other autobiographical fabrications, negatively affected his reputation. But it's interesting. Also, a movie was made, and it was an American actor that portrayed a Grey Owl. Here is, this was a change of address notification card from Canada Post, and I turned it into a little folder. And inside here, I have a ticket for the Peace Bridge from between Buffalo, New York and Fort Erie, Ontario. It was good for one passenger car trip. Here is from that Purity Flour. You could order a cookbook for $1. Here, just a little envelope, 2x2 envelope with a Canadian stamp of the Yukon River, but it's a recent stamp, I think. In here is a little Canada Post. It was a little stamp for stamps, and inside, I can't reach in there. I put some original stamps, some are vintage. I had to include this one of the moose. This one is dated 1953. These three are from Parliament Hill in Ottawa, Ontario. And these two are regarding, oh God, I can't open it. It's the Inuit spirits. I made a mess now. There we go. And there's the back. And it's now listed in my Etsy shop. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.